excited to be here at the Grid Summit, and thank you so much for joining in. Before we get started, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone here, the team. They've been doing amazing job putting all of this together for all of you guys. And I also want to say thank you to Animation Intern. They gave me this opportunity to connect with the Grid Summit, so thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm so excited to be here. So the lesson today in the next hour is going to be about mashup arts. And what is mashup art? So I'm going to take you through this creative journey, and I hope it inspires you as well. So can we get started with the slideshow? Are we okay? Okay. So you might have seen some of this mashup art done in like those kinds of settings, but you can also take that and make it into other forms of creativity as well. So you can take different characters that you love. You can also mash different genres as well. So mashup art is basically taking two different things that you love and bringing them together to create something unique and in your voice. So that is a quick definition of what mashup art is. So how does mashup art help with creativity? So there's many different ways that you can go about using this type of creative this kind of creative expression. You're able to look at things in a new perspective. Something that I love in the movie Big Hero 6 is when Tadashi tells Hiro that sometimes you have to look at things in a new perspective. So mashup art allows you to do that because you are taking two different things that you really love and enjoy or are inspired by, and you're able to bring them together and take different elements and fuse them together into one piece. It also helps with creative block. Sometimes when we have artistic block, creative block, writer's block, sometimes we're too close to the artwork. And sometimes by kind of zooming back, we're able to kind of look at different things in a different perspective, or we're able to really just kind of try and experiment and do different things. And when we find styles that we love, we can like take some of those techniques and apply them to future art pieces. And by doing so, we can learn those new techniques, try different things, experiment, because that's what art is about too, is having fun and once again, learning something new. So that's how mashup art can really help kind of bridge the gap between what we have in our minds and also executing it, because we're getting to experiment. Okay. And so at Animation Intern, there is a whole course on mashup art and character design. And what we do there is teach this really fun and amazing concept called the wizard's duel. If you've seen the movie The Sword and the Stone, there is a scene where Merlin and Madame Mim have to have this wizard's duel. And what they do is they try to outwit each other with their magic. And so what they do is they turn into different types of animals. And so at Animation Intern, we dive into the creative process and character design of how these characters are still able to still look like Merlin or Madame Mim, but in an animal, in a different type of body, but you still know it's them. So for instance, with Madame Mim, she is this character, she's a witch, and in the movie she turns into like an elephant and snakes and different types of, like a chicken, I think too. And so what happens is how can we still know that's that character even though she's in a different body per se? It's because of the characteristics. So for instance, the hair, the eyes. Same thing with Merlin. When he turns into some of these other characters, such as like a goat, you know, or other types of, or I think he's just like a crab. So with Merlin, what happens is we still are able to tell it's him because of like the beard, the glasses, and certain elements like that. So with character design, it's really amazing because we're able to still pick up on those key elements even though they kind of transformed. And so with mashup art, it's the same concept of taking those elements, those key pieces, and still transforming them into something else. So at Animation Intern, it's really exciting because they have a whole course dedicated to mashup arts and with character design in 2D. But we also have a lecture with mashup art in film. So what we're doing right now in the lecture is taking different types of film genres and mashing them up into like a 30-second trailer as a different film genre. So for instance, taking a horror film and editing it to make it appear like it's a romantic comedy or vice versa. And what this does is we pay attention to what makes film trailers successful or what types of elements that are used in those types of trailers. Is it the music? Is it the dialogue? So we can also do film mashups in like cinematography and stuff like that too, not just in traditional art. So I'm going to be sharing some of my examples with some of my artwork and also really diving into different types of mashups and how you can apply them to your own art pieces. So for the first one, I'm going to talk about mashing different types of worlds together. So in this example, we have Onward and Marvel. So with Barley and Ian, they're the characters from Pixar's Onward. And what I did was I mashed them up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so Barley is dressed up as Star-Lord and Ian is dressed up as Spidey. So what I'm doing here with these two characters is I'm mashing up two different aspects, so Pixar and Marvel, but I'm also mashing up real world as well because the characters who play Barley and Ian, the voice acting, also are in Marvel. So let's see, so Barley is, or the character who voices Barley is Chris Pratt, who's also Star-Lord, and Tom Holland, who is Spidey, also voiced Ian. And so the whole concept with this is that I wanted to really kind of play the same characters and mash those up together. So for the next one is character size. So with character size for this one, it's Toy Story with The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian's great. I mean, Baby Yoda is so cute. And I was thinking of how can I fuse two worlds together that are similar as far as the character dimensions and sizes. So for Baby Yoda, I thought of what are some characters that are small and green. And so I thought it'd be really great to fuse that with Toy Story, the little green aliens who are in Pizza Planet and the claw and all of that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be really great to have Baby Yoda as the little green alien. And then I wanted to have a character that could really play up the size of Baby Yoda. And so for this, I decided to use Buzz Lightyear because he's one of my favorite characters. But also with The Mandalorian, they have this armor, they have this exterior. And also in the first Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear never wants to take his helmet off. And I thought that was a really great parallel to The Mandalorian, where he never takes his helmet off either. And so finding some of these similarities, it's really amazing how so many characters that we love are very similar in their body gestures or in their sizes. And so I thought that would be a really great way to bring those two things together. So character size can definitely help with mashing up. You can see all the different similarities. All right, so now I'm gonna dive into color theory and character design. And with character design and color theory, this can be a whole lecture in itself because it is so important about how we perceive characters and how the colors that we use for them can actually portray a lot of their personality. So the example that I have in front of you is The Wizard of Oz, which is an amazing movie with all the different characters, but I wanted to pick the three main ones. We have Dorothy, Glinda, and the Wicked Witch. And so with this example, each character has their own main color that is assigned to them. And so for instance, Dorothy, we have like blue, Glinda is this bright pink, she's very, very sparkly. And with the witch, she's got this green and black combination. And so with color theory, for instance, pink can represent something that's really bright and positive and really encouraging. And that is what Glenda is towards Dorothy. She is kind of like a mentor. She's the leader. She wants to help Dorothy on her journey. So pink can be associated with really kind of having that positive glowing aspect. And for Dorothy, we have blue. Blue can also be very loyal. And so Dorothy is a character who is so loyal to her family, to helping other people. She's loyal to the friends that she meets, and she's wanting to include all of them onto the yellow brick road to go meet Oz. And so with that blue color, if you want to use that with your character designs, it's really great to incorporate blue colors if your character is loyal. So for another example outside of this is Mr. Incredible. In his early outfit, he has like this bright blue, and he's very honorable and he wants to help and he's loyal. So that is something to kind of keep in mind for when you're designing your own characters. To think of these colors. So then also we have the witch, and she is this bright green, but then she also has a lot of black as well. So green for color design can be associated with many different things. For this example, it's kind of representing something that's wicked, but maybe not wicked completely, but something that is a little more evil. But green in character design can be associated with kind of turning or transformation. So the first character I think of when it's this bright green is the Hulk, right? He's a character that turns this bright green. It can also represent being envy or being envious of something. So in this example with Wizard of Oz, she is kind of envious of Dorothy and the red slippers. And so when you want to use green in a character design, sometimes it is about having kind of more of an outcasted role. It might not always be wicked or evil, but it's sometimes about being more outcasted. So in this example, so we have the blue, green, and pink. And so if for the mashup that I'm gonna do, I wanted to think of another set of characters that had that same bright and color association. But I also wanted to have three female characters to really play up that role. So I'm gonna share with you guys the Powerpuff Girls. They are an example of the same color examples. So Bubbles is blue, she's bright, she's positive, she talks to animals. And then Buttercup, she is green, she's kind of the outcast. She doesn't really kind of fit in with her other sisters, but she's still included in the universe. And then Blossom, she is the leader. She is pink. She is pretty bold. And so with this mashup, I wanted to fuse those two together. So we have Blossom being Glenda. She's the pink, positive leader of her sisters. And then we have Bubbles as Dorothy. She is the one who is got the red slippers on and has the bright blue dress to match Dorothy's. And then for Buttercup, I thought it was very fitting to have her as the Wicked Witch, even though, once again, she's not quite wicked or evil, but she is this character who's kind of this outcast. And so for this example, I really wanted to play up the Powerpuff Girls style. And I think when you're doing mashups, it's really great to find different types of art styles, because you're able to push your creativity and try to learn what makes this style successful, or what in this type of environment can I pull from to include into my own artistic journey. So for instance, I learned a lot about how to make things bolder with like their line style, but also really paying attention to, once again, the color theory and making sure I picked colors that represented the Powerpuff Girls and Wizard of Oz. So this kind of leans into the next slide, where I thought more of the world as well, like who else can I include into this universe of the Powerpuff Girls and Wizard of Oz. And I thought of Mojo Jojo. He is the evil character, the monkey, and I thought it would be really fun to make him the flying monkey from the Wizard of Oz. They have this really bright outfit. So I wanted to really find other characters to include in this mashup. So something that I think is really great when you are designing and wanting to fuse two universes together is how can I also expand that, not just the three main characters or the main character? Are there other characters that have similarities? So once again, monkey, flying monkey, and I thought it'd be really great. And this to kind of put a story along with it. So when you're designing these characters, what story are these characters going through? So for instance, I thought it'd be really funny that the girls roped Mojo Jojo into a play for their school and somehow they got him to dress up as the flying monkey from Wizard of Oz. So the next slide that I want to share is about style influences. And I think what's really great with when you're doing these mashup art pieces is how can I include different forms of art styles together and what can I learn from that? So in this example, I am sharing two mashups of Snoopy, the Peanuts characters, as well as Scooby-Doo. And the similarities between these two universes is the fact that it is a character who has a lovable companion. And in, you know, in this example, it's Scooby and Snoopy. And I thought, what a great way to bring those two worlds together and have Shaggy as Charlie Brown. And so for style influences, I thought it'd be really important to pick a specific style and bring Scooby into that because Charles Schulz, who created Peanuts, has a very unique comic style. He has a very interesting way that he uses his line, and I thought it'd be really important to play that up. And so what I decided to do for this piece is also make the house look like the Mystery Machine by using those bright colors. And so when you want to bring your art pieces alive, sometimes you might have to really enhance some of the colors because, like, for instance, in the world of Peanuts and Snoopy, it's a little more muted, and I think it was because it was a comic book or a comic strip. And so I think the colors from Scooby, they're very bright and very psychedelic. And so I wanted to really kind of amplify those colors to make sure it translates very well for these characters. So one challenge that I had for this piece was creating his hair for Charlie Brown and making it still feel like Shaggy. So sometimes you have to kind of experiment and try different things, along with Scooby's ears. And Snoopy has very droopy ears, and Scooby doesn't. So sometimes you have to experiment and try different things. So sometimes your styles will change and evolve by trying different mashups. And I think that's a great way to experiment for that, because sometimes when we have artist block, we get really kind of stuck on trying to find our style. Especially as traditional artists, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves of wanting to find our style and how can I execute what's in my mind onto paper. And so when you're creating these mashups, what's really nice is you can kind of just play and have fun and experiment. And through that experimentation, you're able to find something, or maybe an idea hits you and you're able to bring that into another art piece because you are not caught up in trying to put this pressure on creating this masterpiece. You're just having fun with it. And I think that by finding other worlds and other characters that we're inspired by, we can take that influence and really kind of create fun fan art. But through that experience, we are able to really showcase what we love about those worlds. And so something that's really amazing when you are creating different types of mashups, bringing characters together, you're also forming a sense of community. And what happens is by sharing these art pieces, you're able to connect with other people who love that fandom or love those different characters too. And so that creates a sense of community. And so when making this Scooby-Doo and Snoopy mashup, I realized Charlie Brown has a sense of community with his friends, and so does Scooby-Doo. And so I thought it'd be great to include some of the other characters, and by designing them, I thought of the communities that bring us together, like going to comic conventions or sharing our art online in different art communities. What happens is you're able to really showcase what you love and connect with others. And I think that's what's so important about art. Sometimes when we create, we can sometimes feel like we're creating in a bubble or in a vacuum. And I think the best thing about art is really expressing ourselves and connecting with other people. And the best way to do that is by showcasing what you love and creating pieces that just really speak to you. And I think that through that experience, you're able to just really dive in and share with others and share your techniques as well. I think now is the best time with the internet and showcasing what you love and just connecting. So with that being said, I'm gonna dive into the demo, but if there's any questions, I'd be so happy to answer them. If there's any about mashup artwork or fusing two different characters together, is there any questions or anything like that? See, don't look like we have any. All right, but if you guys do, please let me know. I'd be so how do you get inspiration? That's a great question. Most of the time by going online, looking on social media like Instagram. That's a great place to find lots of inspiration. I'm very inspired by pop culture. I think it's amazing because you're able to learn from other characters and some characters you just really connect to. And so for me, I just love finding different similarities, like what characters connect to each other. So most of the time when I get that idea, it comes very, very naturally. So like for instance, the Scooby-Doo mashup that you saw, that was inspiration because I was eating Scooby snacks. I was eating some gummy snacks. I was like, wait, what are some other characters that have lovable companions? And I thought of Snoopy. So that's where I get a lot of my inspiration. Sometimes it's just organic and just by watching lots of different types of shows, cartoons, and things like that. What made you do what you want to do? Being an artist. So for me, I was always inspired by animation. I just love the fact that you were able to make something move, make your artwork move. And so that's what really inspired me. And so I learned a lot from my alma mater, Sheldon High School, which is also connected to Animation Intern. They do an amazing job of taking a lot of the things that we love and showing us how you can actually do that for a living and bridging the gap between from an education, but also bringing in real world examples and connecting with the entertainment industry. And so that's where I got really inspired. It was one of those moments I realized, wait, you can be an artist for a living. This is really amazing. And so I wanted to continue on that journey. And through that, I learned a lot from just being in the video game industry. I learned a lot from them. I actually also cosplay as well. And that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from too, creating different costumes. I did a lot of costume making for the video game industry. And from that, that's what connected to my art. And that's what ended up connecting to community. So everything kind of came full circle. So I'm very inspired by so many different media, including, once again, cartoons, the people that I meet through comic conventions and stuff like that. So where do you find these ideas? Once again, I'm so inspired by what other people create and different movies, TV shows. There's so much to absorb. I think now's the best time. I'm a big nerd, really, when it comes down to it. I love absorbing different types of pop culture. So I think it's really, really fun to learn different aspects of the character and their stories and finding those connections. I kind of like to think of it like the Matrix. Everything's somehow connected, and it's finding those connections and between characters, and then finding a way to execute it. And the slides that I showed you are some of the challenges that come with mashup art. And so I wanted to really kind of break down different ways to bring things together and fusing them. Let's see, what's your favorite mashup? Oh my goodness. I think my favorite one I would have to say is Baby Yoda and the little green alien, just because I mean, Baby Yoda is so cute, right? He's so adorable, and he really brought a lot of Star Wars fans together, and people who were interested in Star Wars, I think, became very interested in the world. And so I loved what Baby Yoda did for the world. He became this bright, positive little sunshine, and I thought it was really fun to fuse something like that. So that would probably be my favorite mashup so far. But once again, each one has their own story, and I love them all differently because of the way I was able to connect with other people, or the way the inspiration came from. But as of now, probably Baby Yoda. Let's see. Where are we? What medium do you usually work in? Great question. Most of the time I like to sketch, just like in a sketchbook and just using a pencil and paper. But most of the time when I do the finished versions, it's all done on my iPad, and I'm really excited because I'm going to do a demo on the iPad for you guys too. But I love being able to just draw on the iPad. You can sketch on the go, and I also use an Apple Pencil as well. So the medium that, or the app that I like to use is called Procreate. It is an amazing program, and they keep adding new features, and there's so many things that you can do. It is, for those who are not familiar with the Procreate app, it is similar to Photoshop, where you can have layers and you can draw all within the software. So but it's on the iPad. So it's really, really great because it's very, very fluid and very, very affordable as well. So if you guys have an iPad, I highly recommend Procreate. If you're not using it already, it's really great. And there's also features where you can do time lapses. Like seriously, there's so many cool features that is on that app. So I highly, highly recommend it. So let's see. The next question, what's the hardest part about doing mashups? The hardest part, I would definitely say, is trying to fuse the styles. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what style you want to lean into, and also finding ways to execute that style to make it readable. So what makes a mashup successful? To me, I think it's finding the similarities. First and foremost, it's the idea, but it's also finding ways to execute that style in particular. So for instance, with Scooby-Doo and Charlie Brown, I wanted to make sure it leaned more towards the Charlie Brown aspect of having these very specific line structure. So that can be really, really challenging because you're having to push yourself in sometimes styles you normally never would ever do. But that's what's really great, because you're able to expand that idea, or you might try something you never would have tried before. And so by doing that, you're opening up your creativity. You are also finding new techniques. You might learn a way to do something with like line work that you wouldn't try with your own stuff. So that is sometimes the hardest thing, is finding ways to make it feel successful for that specific piece, but then taking what you learned and maybe applying it someplace else. But once you do, and the more you practice, it really ends up becoming second nature, and it's really fun to be like, hey, I like that color palette. I think I might use that for one of my own pieces, or I really like the way that artist does their shading, or I like how they use their light source in that art piece. And by doing that, you're able to take all those different pieces and put them into your own, and and through that, your own style will develop. And that's another thing. I think we put a lot of emphasis on trying to find your artistic voice or artistic style. I also want to share that it might change as you grow and experience new things. Your artistic style will expand and grow as you do. And I think the more experiences that you have will influence your art. And that's what's so beautiful about the artistic journey, is that you're able to really kind of see your own work evolve throughout the whole process. So let's see, what other questions do we have? What kind of art do you do? The kind of art that I do, it ranges from many different things. Mashup art is one of my favorite things to do just because of it's like a great brain exercise. But other art that I do as well, I do traditional airbrushing. I also consider cosplay art. I've done a lot of costume building for video game companies such as Borderlands and franchises like Assassin's Creed. I've actually worked with the company and helped them develop their character concept art for some of the costumes. So I consider that art as well, but a lot of the work that I do is also traditional and digital media. Digital just because it's very convenient, it's very fast. When I work with clients and doing different types of pieces for them, it's really nice to have digital because I can have a quick turnaround time and able to share that with them. So that's most of the art that I do, but I love doing all kinds of different mediums. I think it's important to explore because sometimes you'll find something that really clicks with you. So do you have any socials? I'd love to see more of your work. Yeah, you can follow on Instagram at Sam Schuyler Arts. That's probably the best place to reach out to me. I have a website and everything's connected there. And I would love to see your artwork as well. So make sure you guys tag me. I'd love to see all your pieces. And let's see. We are all nerds. Yes, I think that's what's so great. And this is what's so fun. We are able to express what we love. And for me, mashup art is just like a love letter to all the different fandoms and the creators. It's just my way of sharing my appreciation and saying thank you for putting your artwork out there to influence and inspire all of us. And I'll take a few more questions and then we'll dive into the demo. Let's see, difference between a stylus and Apple Pen. Oh, great question. So a stylus, from what I gather, is just being able to like touch the screen, where your iPad pencil gives you a little bit more defined, like, what's the best way to describe it? It's basically being able to kind of fine tune. It gives you a little bit more of an exact area that you want to sketch. And I believe it's also pressure sensitive. I know with iPads, I don't know with all iPads if they are, but it's almost like a Cintiq where it's pressure sensitive. So the harder you press, the brush will have a different experience. So let's see. I'm a newbie in arts and I'm trying to be self-taught artist. That's great. I'm self-taught as well. So I think the best thing is you can continue to learn on your journey. How do I know? Let's see. Perspective and other stuff, etc. The best thing I believe is practice and experimenting and to just keep learning. There's so many different outlets and different videos and stuff like that. We're actually doing an animation intern. We're doing one on perspective. We're doing some different lessons on that. We're diving into the golden ratio, composition. So definitely please reach out to us if there's certain aspects that you want to learn, because they are forming some lesson plans around some of those aspects. So please reach out. We'd love to help encourage you on your artistic journey. And the next question is, what's your favorite line art style? So which line art style do you recommend for newer artists? Cosplaying, definitely art. Oh, yay, cosplay, so much fun. If you guys cosplay, that's so great. Please tag me. I'd love to see all your guys' work. Yes, yeah, a lot of time and creativity goes into that. So to answer the first part of your question is line art style. Oh my gosh, there's so many different great examples. The Powerpuff Girls and a lot of like the Cartoon Network has a very, very unique style. So for the Powerpuff Girls, they have really, really bold lines. I would highly recommend doing some of that kind of art as a newer artist, just because you're able to have these really broad line strokes and you pay attention to how to outline characters. But there's some other really great line art. Let me think. Al Hirschfeld, he did caricatures. They're amazing. I highly recommend you taking a look at some of his pieces. Actually, the genie from Aladdin was heavily influenced by that artist. So that is another great line style that I would really recommend exploring, because it's the line variation. So for instance, the line would get thinner, then thicker, then thinner again. And that's really neat to see how you can put kind of weight on the line. So that I would highly recommend those two first. And then for art styles, I believe the best thing is to go after art styles that inspire you. If you are inspired by anime, then dive into that. If it's traditional animation, explore those realms. I believe it's important to just really find what inspires you and influences you, because what happens is by absorbing that, you're able to take that inspiration in and then create your own pieces. And I think that's what's really important, is because when you are expressing yourself, you're taking all the things that you love and inspired by and transforming it. And as far as cosplay, yes, it's definitely a whole art form in itself, because you have to learn how to sew, or doing foam armor, or all these different elements, wig styling. There's so many aspects of cosplay. So yes, definitely consider it art. And one more question, then we'll jump into the demo. Do you make tutorials, and like how you make projects for games, costume art? I love your process, ideas, and everything. Thank you so much for your sweet comments. And yes, on my Instagram, I have a lot of time lapses for cosplay, and I do have a few tutorials on my YouTube channel as well. Everything's connected to my Instagram, so it's probably easiest to find me there. But if there are specific tutorials that you would like to see, please reach out, because I would love to help dive in to making more tutorials for all of you. If there's a certain aspect that you want to learn more about, I'd be so happy to share that with you guys. All right, so with that being said, I'm so excited. We're going to jump into a demo, and let's see, get my Halloween inspired. And do I have any fans who love Nightmare Before Christmas? Because whenever I think Halloween and Christmas, I always think of Jack Skellington. So I thought that I would start with Jack and Sally. And I'm just gonna be doing sketches today, so it's gonna be a really rough sketch. But maybe if there is enough time, I can try to render it out, but I would rather spend more time just doing the sketch portion with you guys. So if you have questions, I can really kind of dive in, because I think that's what's really important. That rendering it out can be a whole video in and of itself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, should I make you guys try to guess what I'm gonna mash it with, or should I just tell you guys, or see if you guys can guess? I don't know. I just want to make sure it's really fun and that you guys are able. Okay, cool. Are you guys able to see that? I might have to draw a little darker. Okay, so Jack Skellington is such an amazing character. The Tim Burton world, all of the stuff that he does is very, very stylized and very, very unique. And so I thought for this that we would lean more into the Tim Burton style, because I think it's something that's so inspiring, because once again, you're able to look at something immediately and know, okay, that might be from Tim Burton. So I'm just doing kind of like rough shapes to get Jack Skellington's pose together. And so the great thing with Jack is I think he is a great character to draw. Everyone can draw him. I think sometimes when we are creating, we put a lot of, once again, pressure on wanting to have this masterpiece, or we don't know how to break something down. And the way I like to do it is just think of shapes. Everything has a shape. And so for Jack, he is a big circle. And most of the time, with Tim Burton stuff, it's really exaggerated. So for instance, Jack's legs are very, very long. He's a very tall guy. And so here we have the long legs, and then a triangle for the top for his body here, and then a big circle for his head. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just actually draw Jack first and then start mashing up elements for the mashup. And I'll try to, I don't know if I can come up with any clues without giving it away, but so I'm gonna draw Jack here and doing his eyes. Once again, he has really big features. So getting this sketch down here. And I think the best thing with Tim Burton's style is it feels like everyone can draw it and make their own characters, and it's just a really inviting world. And here we go. So we have Jack's face here. And so now I'm gonna start roughing in a few elements from his outfit. So I'm gonna actually have to size this down. He's getting a little too tall. So let's see. So I thought, what are some other worlds that are very, very bright and colorful, and also really like a world that you can kind of immerse yourself into? And so I was thinking of other different Disney films, and the thing that I like to do too is kind of put myself in the character's shoes. Like, where would Jack like to go next? So that's something you can think about too. What's the story that you want to tell with your characters when you're doing a mashup? Where are they going? Where are they exploring? So I thought it'd be really fun if Jack went to Wonderland. And so I'm thinking of making him into the Mad Hatter. So I'm gonna make a new layer, and that's something I highly recommend for you guys too, is to draw on other layers. So for instance, if you don't like the shape of something and you want to experiment, if you put everything on a new layer, it's easy to swap things around or resize them. So I'm gonna give Jack a little Mad Hatter, and I'm gonna focus on the traditional Alice in Wonderland example. I know Tim Burton did a Alice in Wonderland live action film, but for this one, I want to pull in inspiration from the classic one, just because the Mad Hatter's outfit is so iconic with the green and his like bow tie and everything. So for the hat, the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland, his hat is more shaped like this, right? It's almost just like an exaggerated top hat. So that's kind of, I'll zoom in a little bit here. So that's kind of where it normally is. But in Tim Burton's style, I don't think that would fly. I feel like Tim Burton loves to exaggerate things. So what I'm gonna do is hide that layer, and I'm gonna bring everything down a little bit. Because once again, Jack is so tall, I should probably flip my canvas the other way, but so the thing is Tim Burton, his stuff is so exaggerated. Like, see how the legs are so long? I feel like we need to expand the hat and really have fun with the shapes and the proportions. So I'm going to pull the hat and make it much thinner at the base and have fun with that. So once again, you can kind of see we're leaning more into the Tim Burton style, which is really fun, but it's also a challenge because, you know, this would work too, the original hat. Oops, let me bring that down. This would be okay if you wanted to, but I feel like it doesn't play up what Tim Burton's world. And so in this example, this feels much more iconic. It kind of reminds me of, I believe it's the mayor's hat, where he has that really like unique shape on his. So that's where we can also pull other inspiration from other characters from that world. If we're not sure what something would look like, we can explore different characters that have the same elements or something that we might need. So then For the Mad Hatter, he also has that like little tag inside, so I think we can add that in there. Maybe we'll even make it a little torn up or something because it's a little raggedy, so we can put that in there. I'll merge these two. Let me erase this here. So as you can see, we're already kind of getting into the Alice in Wonderland aesthetic with the Mad Hatter here. I think it's 10 and a 6. Okay. So the other aspects, so what other elements from the Mad Hatter can we include? Well, he has that bow tie, right? Jack has a bow tie too, but I feel like we have to kind of play the two elements together. So the one in Alice in Wonderland, I'll kind of do a quick example over here. It's very bubbly. It looks very much like a traditional bow tie, right? So we have that one. But then in the Tim Burton world, in Jack's, it's very, very pointy and a different shape. But we both know those are bow ties. So I think this is going to be fun. We'll have to try to experiment. Do we make it more puffy for Jack so it leans more into the Alice in Wonderland style? Or do we kind of still do the pointed edges? Or do we do a combination? And this is where it's fun. This is when you get to experiment. Like, well, maybe we can try making it pointy, but maybe a little more cutesy and bubblier. So maybe these points are just a little bit more curved. So we still have that same aspect, and maybe we can add like a few little lines here to kind of play up that Alice in Wonderland bow tie, because the one in Alice in Wonderland, he kind of has it like this. So we need to kind of like pull some elements from both. And so the Mad Hatter also has a jacket, and I know Jack has his where his kind of like flare out. Oh, I can hide the bow tie thing here. So for Jack, I was thinking we could maybe make it more like look like a coat, but we can have it raggedy at the end, because we need to make sure we give both styles a little bit of or we kind of just make sure both styles are represented, because it's easy. We could easily bring this into one or the other, so it's kind of a balancing act for your mashups, which is really, really exciting, and it's a challenge because it's easy to just lean into one area versus the other. So I think we'll just make him have like the little trench coat, and there we go. So let me see. We have a few more minutes. I'll try to quickly draw Sally as well, because we have to, right? Sally's so great. So what character do you think I'll mash her up with? She's from Alice in Wonderland. I think we have to make her Alice, right? I think that would be so cute. So once again, I'm going to start with drawing Sally first. And Sally has those really big eyes, eyelashes. Sally's one of my favorite characters to draw. She's so cute and so positive. Okay, so let me see. And once again, this is just the rough sketch just to get the idea down. I think it's really important to also experiment, and in the sketching process, it's really fun to try different things. Most of the time, I'll spend more time sketching than I will actually executing the final piece, just because I think it's really important to explore all the possibilities and all the options. Okay, so do that. Is there any other questions I should answer? Let's see. I think the bow tie is supposed to be a bat. Okay, yes, yeah, that's right. So I think we could do a combo would be nice. Yeah, so that's something, once again, he's a bat, so I think it was really fun to try to make it a little bit more bubbly, so it plays into the Alice, the classic Disney style. So Okay, so let me try to get Sally going here. So for Sally, I think it'd be really fun to put her in Alice's dress. Hopefully we have enough time. But what I can do is I can focus on certain parts of Alice that I think we can make sure to include. So Alice has on her outfit, she has very puffy sleeves. And I know in the Tim Burton world that doesn't really exist that I can think of off the top of my head, especially in Nightmare Before Christmas. A lot of the things are kind of, once again, torn, have rough edges. So that's something I might have to try to find a way to include in this dress, but still make it feel like Alice's, where it's really puffy. And Alice's dress is very pristine, it's very clean, and Sally's is, she's a rag doll. And so I think what we could do is maybe make some of the patches on the side, we can add some of those lines on things like that. And maybe, I know Alice has kind of like these lines on the sleeves, but maybe what we could do is add those, but maybe make them more angled and raggedy over there. Also, Alice has a bow tie as well. So this is a great idea. I think like we could kind of match up what we have for Jack. So Alice has like a little black headband with a little bow. So maybe we could do that as well to make it look like Jack's. And this is a great thing too. If you can find ways to pull from both characters, if you're doing multiple characters, to make them both feel like consistent and from the same world. So I think it'd be really darling. We can have her have the little bat up on top here. And we can do that for her headband. And I think for Sally's hair, I would almost keep it exactly the same, but maybe just when we sketch it, I might just kind of curl it at the end a little bit, just so it kind of plays up Alice's. So. And I know Alice has a collar too, so it looks something similar to this, where it's got like, I believe it's called like a Peter Pan collar. So we'll kind of still incorporate that. But I think when it gets to colors, that's where it's really fun to experiment too, because you're able to pick colors that work for both characters. So Sally is kind of like a light blue for like her skin tone. So I think it's kind of nice because Alice has a blue dress. So it'd be fun to experiment a little bit with the different colors, which I don't know if we'll have enough. I don't think we'll have enough time to color it, but I want to once again just show the sketch process of what goes on with actually combining these two characters together. And if there's any other last questions too, I want to make sure I answer all of your guys' questions if you have any. If you make the bottom half of the dress like Sally and the top half like Alice, that would be a great idea. I love that because Sally's has all the patchwork, and then Alice's is really cute up on top. And I think that's a great thing too, is exploring and experimenting. Let's see, do you ever use reference? Yes, most of the time I will use a reference for the mashups, and sometimes I like to study the artist's previous work too, because you're able to find clues or really great experimental things that they were trying. So I think that's something really important. Reference is so fun and it's so inspiring. And what is your favorite brush to use for your work? For when I'm sketching, I'm using just one of the brushes that comes with Procreate already. I know you can also do custom brushes, but some of the ones that are already preloaded are fantastic. So I use an HB pencil brush for sketching, and for my favorites, for line work, I use a few different gel pens. I did modify a few of these, and if you guys are interested, I'd be more than happy to send you one of my brushes afterwards. So I think we actually have, we'll do like a digital goodie bag for everyone. So that will be so great. And is there any other, what do you start? When did you start taking your art seriously? That is a wonderful question. I think it was when I realized that you can become an artist for a living. When I was probably in elementary school, when I was watching some Disney films, I realized, wait, there's people who help make these come to life. And so that's when I started really exploring different types of art careers when I was really, really young. And then in high school is where it really took off for me. And I was able to be part of the animation studio, which is with Animation Intern. And so in high school, that's when I really started diving in. When I graduated high school, I decided to really just become a freelancer and learn as much as I could. And from that, everything just started to snowball, and I realized that I can connect with other people. So for me, taking my art seriously started when I was about, you guys in about high school was when I realized I could actually focus and become like an entrepreneur. And the way I like to think of it is I'm a nerd for a living. I get to design and draw things and connect with people, and really that's the best part. So what classes do you take for, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is teal and like turquoise. I love blues and things like that. And what classes did you take during school for art? In high school, I took a lot of traditional art classes. I was very, very fortunate to be in at a school that had animation. I know that that's very rare, and so I was very, very grateful for those opportunities to have an animation studio at my high school. They also taught airbrushing as well in the traditional art class. So I also learned a lot of traditional arts. That's actually what I started with, was doing a lot of traditional arts, and then kind of fusing that in with animation and different media. And I realized that I can bring those two together and kind of form my own career path. And I think now is the perfect time for all of us to do that. The internet has opened many different possibilities for you guys to explore. And where did you first start art? I started learning art, just drawing, that's experimenting at home, and then taking art classes in high school, and then continuing my journey. And I had a lot of great mentors and artists that I reached out to that helped me on my journey after high school, because I feel like sometimes that can be pretty scary going to different art classes or school or art colleges. There's many different outlets for everyone, so just find what feels natural to you and just keep pursuing it. And how do you get over burnout and art blocks? Yes, so that is really hard as creatives. It's easy to get those art blocks or burnout. I think the best thing is to sometimes take a break from it. Sometimes we're too close to the art. We're looking at it, we've been working on it for too long. Sometimes it's important to take a break and examine it later and find another creative outlet that you love to do too. So maybe you love to do traditional art, maybe do some watercolor, maybe try doing different mediums. So sometimes the best thing to do to get out of artist block is switch up your medium or switch your environment. Maybe if you're sketching in your room, maybe try sketching outside. I think that really helps with artist block. And to help with artist burnout, the best thing to do is just pace yourself. Sometimes we put so much energy in, and we try to get the piece completed that we just put all of that in there, and then we just feel exhausted. And so I think it's important to kind of pace yourself. It's not easy, and I think it takes time, but it's something that you can do. So if you're having those feelings, I think it's important to find other things that inspire you to just keep doing that. And where did you go to high school? I went to Sheldon High, which is in Northern California. Amazing programs that they have there. And how do you catch yourself before burnout? Sometimes it's hard for me to tell when I'm drawing too much. Yes, I think for me, I always, like, if I'm sketching, sometimes hours will go by. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't eat lunch, you know? So I realize for me, sometimes my stomach will tell me to take a break, that I need to eat. I'm a hobbit. I love to eat all the time. So I feel like that's how I can kind of tell. But another way to catch yourself with burnout is when you're working on something, are you getting frustrated? Are you feeling exhausted? Sometimes it's hard to kind of check yourself. So something that you can do too is set a timer. You know, like if you know you have an hour to draw, set a timer for that, and then when the timer's up, kind of reevaluate and see how you're feeling. I think that that's how you can kind of catch yourself before, you know, it really takes over. And what do you say listening to music inspire you to draw? I love listening to movie soundtracks while I'm drawing. So for instance, if I was in my studio drawing this piece, I would be listening to the Nightmare Before Christmas soundtrack. And or if I'm doing something that's supposed to be kind of bold and adventurous, I love listening to like Indiana Jones or Star Wars, or different soundtracks really help inspire me to create, because that is like a narrative storytelling aspect that I just love with music. Can really make you feel emotions and things like that. So that's what I love to use for music. And any other questions? I think we're good. So that concludes this workshop. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was inspiring. Please reach out. And once again, thank you to everyone at the Grid and Animation Intern. You guys are doing amazing. Thank you for all your hard work. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Keep drawing, keep creating. Bye.